I've impacted one heart, one mind, one soul, and brought that individual greater truth than that individual came into a relationship with me having, then I would say that I've been successful. Harry Belafonte. Powerful giants, examples that they set for us, values that they instilled in us, pass it forward. Each one teach one, each one reach one. In inheritance of the griot for all time. Reverence how our ancestors become to ourselves. Say it loud. You can't teach others if you're living the same way. James Brown. I'm not quite sure what freedom is, but I know damn well what it ain't. Difficulties break some men, but make others. Nelson Mandela. We have to talk about liberating minds as well as liberating society. Angela Davis. Say it loud, 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 say it kill a man, but you can't kill an idea. Medgar Evers. You make progress by implementing ideas. Shirley Chisholm. I do not expect the white media to create positive black male images. UEP Newton. Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it. Aaron Wright Edelman. Education is the passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Malcolm X. If nobody can learn from the past, then there's no plan where they can get up. Billie Holiday. Your voice can change the world. Barack Obama. Say it loud. 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 Fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Martin Luther King. It must be recognized that no black males manufacture the chemicals for drug use. Nor do any black males manufacture guns. Francis Cress Welsing. If you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have a moral obligation to do something about it. John Lewis. You can't use up creativity. The more you use it, the more you have. Maya Angelou. The proof that one truly believes is in his actions. Maya Rustin. Say it loud. 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 Say it can prosper till it learns that there's as much dignity in tilling a field as riding a corn. Booker T. Washington, say it loud.
Very deep.
Woo, that song got me about to cry.
Very
oh
deep.
man,
Yes.
And then the part with Martin Luther King, he said, if you can't run, then walk.
And then
if you can't walk,
Francis
then crawl.
Scott. Francis Wells Scott?
Francis Cress Welsing.
Cress Welsing.
Yeah, and what she said was, no man, manufacture guns and drugs.
Mm-hmm.
No, let me take that back. No black men manufacture drugs, nor do any black men manufacture guns. But black men, African American Native men, are the ones that get in trouble for it more than any other race. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
Back to the Martin Luther King birthday.
Yeah, today is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026.
And we're also going to throw in Malcolm X and Nat Turner.
Yesterday was happy birthday Martin Luther King. Today is MLK, the after party. So it was some things as usual after we finished our shows that we remember that we didn't say. So that's why we came up with the after party. Yeah, that song still got me. I had a tear in my eye. Yeah, we made that, made by yours truly, Kev Upson and Steve Osborne. The name of that song is called Say It Loud. Let me see where we gonna go. So some of the stuff that I wanted to mention yesterday was like, cause we was already talking about how segregation and racism was like a weird, hateful twilight zone. But just to keep things fresh in our spirit so that we don't forget and maybe people, you know, that come up on us may see these podcasts and, you know, they'll know some of what we had to say or some of the things we went through, like the situation with your
And like the saying, like, I was born in 64 and segregation was going on.
Yeah.
I was 5 years old when segregation finally came to an end in 1969.
What you saying you was born in 64, so here go the crazy thing, because we seen a documentary on PBS about the interracial couple that want to get married. So y'all check this out. I got some notes. Interracial marriage just became legal in Alabama in 1967. Let me say that again. Interracial marriage just became legal in Alabama in 1967.
That's not that far out.
You was 3 years old when it became legal. That's not a long time ago.
Not. This is American
There are
history.
some people that are still alive that were older during those days and they still here today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They officially legalized interracial marriage in Alabama by removing the constitution that banned it in November of 2000. That's when it became official, when they removed the constitutional ban off of interracial marriage. Yeah. 2000, November 2000 is when the constitutional ban was removed. So when we said yesterday that we still not there, that's a perfect example. And one of the stories I wanted Kev to tell yesterday was he talked about this time when his grandma took them to get ice cream.
We moved from New York to South Carolina, and the family church was in a place called Edgefield, South Carolina, which had a sign in a downtown area saying that colored people had to be out of the downtown area before they said, don't let the sun go down on your black ass.
And what year was that?
This was 70.
In the 70s?
Yeah, this was like 74.
So I was born
Mind
right
you,
then.
I had to be 10 and 12. I was 76. I was 12.
Yeah, you know.
76. I was 12 years old.
So I was 2 years old.
Yep.
Wow.
Now,
and can I say something about that? It was like that in South Beach. I remember growing up talking about that. They had those signs on South Beach.
They call it Sundown Town.
Yep. So on South Beach, there couldn't be no African American natives on South Beach. Once the sun was going down there, you'd get in trouble.
Sundown Town. And my grandmother had this thing when we come from church. When she would always go to the same, and this is to show you how ignorant these racist people were. My grandmother did this every Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Don't you think after the second time you done threw 4 to 6 ice creams in the trash can, you will recognize, you will remember this person, no matter how busy you ever get? My grandma pulls up to this restaurant. It's an ice cream, like a parlor. They call ice cream parlors back in the day. She pulls up there. It's me, my sister Melissa. Mind you, it was 8 boys and 2 girls.
Wow.
So she got me, Melissa. She got Tony. She got Philip.
So she got the majority
Randy,
of the siblings.
I mean Philip and Norman, because Norman, you know, Randy was like the last child.
Okay.
So it's like 5 or 6, and then her.
Wow.
She tells this lady she wants 7 ice cream cones. She tells us to go around back. She's going to bring them out.
The ice cream lady.
The ice cream. So when she tells us to go around back, my grandmother pulls her around back. And when she pulls her around back, when she comes out of that trash, she has a dumpster right here, and it's a dumpster right here. She got to walk between both these
Who
dumpsters.
wants that? That's crazy.
There's trash on the ground, and she got like two.
Because you know when you
ice
walk by
creams.
dumpsters, it'd be like a funky
Flies,
in the
not only
air.
that, flies and
The
everything.
air be stink.
She got 3 ice creams in this hand, and the way she holding them, they all mashed together. You know what I'm saying? Because she got 3 in this hand, 3 in this hand, and she's gonna have to come back for one more. And when she's walking out, ice cream is dripping down her arms. So if she couldn't have just put them on there. You know, she had to take her time to put them on and then try to get them together so she can come out with them. Or somebody made them and gave them to her. So she's walking out there, she's standing holding ice cream. My grandma looked at her and said, "Now you eat them." And drives off.
Good. Goody.
And drives, and she does this every Sunday.
That is crazy.
For the whole summer.
But can y'all just imagine a world like that? Like what he said, like they got to go around the back of the ice cream parlor to
And
get
this is in 76.
to get their ice cream because their skin color is brown. Like that is crazy.
And this was supposed to be like what was that? 1776 was Independence Day.
Don't give me the line.
Look it up. I think it's in 1776 was Independence Day. And I think it was like 1976 that they made this bicentennial quarter. It's got 1776 and 1976 on it. It's a bicentennial quarter. I remember that year because of that.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Yeah. You're right.
And all of this was still strong, and this was it's in the South.
That's crazy.
Yep. I don't know why so many Southern New Yorkers moved to the South, and so many Southerners would move to New York around that time. And it's still going pretty much today.
Spaces.
Yeah, it's still
And
pretty much today.
it was something called the Great Migration because it's crazy because a lot of people, I know like Robert, a lot of people that I know from Mississippi, they also affiliated with Chicago because they say they had the Great Migration where a lot of people were leaving Mississippi to go to Chicago. And people were leaving Chicago and was going to Mississippi.
That's weird.
Yeah, so the majority of the people that you meet from Mississippi, ask them if they got any kinfolk in Chicago, and more than likely, they're going to say yeah.
Wow.
Because Robert had that same situation. He was like, he said he didn't know what was going on, but some people was going up there, and people was coming down to Mississippi, and it was like they trying to get away from it. Why they coming from Chicago to Mississippi? He said it was like how you just said.
Yeah.
But also, I got peppermint in my mouth. But also imagine a world where you thirsty, you dehydrated, and you need some water, and you want to drink, from the water fountain. And they got a water fountain that says white only, and then they got a water fountain that says color. What kind of craziness is that? Or imagine a restroom. You gotta use the restroom real bad. It's a restroom that say white only, and the restroom that say colored only.
And you go on that wrong one.
And then the colored word. When you think about it.
And then what was the difference between the two?
What, the bathroom?
The bathrooms and the water.
Only thing I can think of, the water probably was low grade water for colored people.
I know
and
the
not
bathrooms
as
had to
clean
be,
water.
I'm about to say the bathroom
and the
had to be
bathroom
filthy.
probably wasn't as clean as
Yeah,
because whatever it was for them to be separate, one of them got showed less love than the other one. So I think the white only was showing more love, and the colored only was like, oh, them N-worders, you know what I'm saying? But can you imagine a world where that actually existed and a group of people thought that was legitimate thinking? Like, that's just crazy. That's mental illness. But I'm happy that we're past that, but we still got other things, we still got some ways to go, but for that to take place and people to feel like that's legitimate rational thinking, that's not mentally
and then,
well.
For people to rationally think that it's good to lie about the past by changing names on stuff.
Yeah, you cannot rewrite history.
But remember what they say: history.
His story.
His story. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah. You cannot rewrite history. Like whatever happened. You can't go back. There go that fly. Other thing. Imagine a world. Just got off of work, feet tired and sore, and you got to go sit on the back of the bus because your skin is brown. And maybe you want to sit on the front of the bus. That is amazing. Mm-hmm. And what I learned was that there was other people that sat on the front of the bus that were asked to move from the front of the bus before Rosa Parks did it. And a lot of them were just, you know, they were assaulted, they were thrown in jail. Yeah, arrested and thrown in jail.
And that was a crime for you to sit in an Anglo seat.
And see, when they did Rosa Parks, she was working for the NAACP. So they had messed with the wrong N-word. But yeah, it's amazing that was actually a crime. And when I think about all of that, it's just to have to live your life being a melanated person, and then you have to go along with some rules that you know don't make sense, but you gotta act like it makes sense. That's like a whole culture of people inflicting their mental disease on a whole nother race of people that, like, most of them didn't even ask to be here. You know, they were brought here forcefully, and then they're forced to have to live a certain way. That's crazy. And another thing I wanted to mention to you guys, if you haven't seen a movie called Alice with Keke Palmer and Common, it's called Alice, ALICE. It's worth seeing.
Definitely worth seeing.
It kind of falls under the lines of what we're talking about now. It's on Netflix. Excuse me. We saw it on Netflix the other day. It's worth seeing. You
have to watch it with an open mind, because it's gonna grab you in. It's gonna draw you. It's gonna draw you in, and you're gonna perceive it one way until you get into like midway of the movie, and then it's gonna change on you. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely worth seeing.
It's worth seeing, yeah.
And that young lady did an incredible acting. Her performance was incredible. Mm-hmm. Common, he did his thing. I really thought he was, he played like he was in that era, and she played like she was in that time period. Mm-hmm. So it was really worth seeing. Then when they got together, it's really worth seeing. It's incredible. Whoever thought about that, whoever came up with that idea, incredible.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention, because we talked about on the previous episode, Martin Luther King, happy birthday Martin Luther King, that it was necessary for him to do what he did. And the boycotts, you know, those were very important. Because it was one episode we was talking about, I was saying, like, when the people didn't want to serve them food and they went and did their sit-ins, mm-hmm. I think that everything that took place was needed to be taking place the way it took place. Because remember how I talked about the yin and the yang? Mm-hmm. So you had some African-American Native people that wanted to sit in because they wanted service. And then you had some that probably was like me, like, no, we could scrape our money and buy our own bread and our own toast and butter and coffee, and, you know. So I think that it was needed to take place both ways.
I think they were saying it's a principle. That they want to be served like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And treated like
they boycotted the buses.
Mm-hmm. And then they getting their own buses.
Yeah, there's a lot of power in what they call the black dollar, and not to create any separation or, you know what I'm saying, but just to say a lot of stuff still goes on today as far as racism, as far as sexism. We got a lot of new stuff added too, with the whole, you know, gay people and transgender people and feminists, and it's a lot of new stuff that's been added to create, you know, different types of diversities within, you know, humankind in this country specifically. If something don't work for you somewhere, no matter if it's a racial situation, a gender situation, a sexual preference situation, if something don't work for you, just don't F with them. You know what I'm saying? Don't force somebody to take your money, like, yeah. Because that's what I was saying when all that was going on, that I probably would have been with the other people, like, let's put our money together. Mm-hmm. We're going to let Auntie Mamie cook all of the food, and we'll go by their house.
Why would I, if you don't want to serve me your food, I mean, you got to cook my food. Why would I want that energy over my hand? You know, even though I don't eat meat. But why would I want that energy over a burger or something, or fries that I'm going to eat from you?
Yeah.
You know?
Because if they didn't want to cook it,
I don't even want a cup of coffee. I don't even want you to give me a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
All a glass of water.
On everything.
Yeah, all a glass of water.
But yeah, I commend them for those walks. I think those walks meant everything. Like, and that was like, more to me, that was the Southern way to do it, because the South operate different, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And how we said Malcolm X came with an energy from, you know, further up, so he was by his business. But yeah, I give props to Malcolm X.
By any means necessary.
Let me see when his birthday is. Let me see. Yeah, by any means necessary. And I give props to Nat Turner, who I learned about later on in life. So Malcolm X's birthday is May 19th, 1925.
Wow, I think it's either Lester or Michael birthday is on May 19th.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's wow. But yeah, they need to make his birthday an official holiday. And because if they got a holiday for Columbus, you know what I'm saying? That Columbus story, y'all, I don't know how much y'all know about Columbus, but when y'all get y'all chance, when y'all get some time, and when y'all have a chance to sit down and truly learn who Columbus was, he's not worthy of a holiday. When y'all sit down, study, research, and learn who Christopher Columbus truly was, there shouldn't be a holiday for him. It's so much that I learned I was brainwashed on coming up in school, and for some reason, it's some historical subjects and some historical classes I was in, my system wouldn't let me absorb some of that stuff. Like some of the history exams I had, I didn't do good in, because it's just something wouldn't let me remember a lot of that stuff, because I don't know if it was something spiritual in me that made it feel like I was being miseducated, but a lot of that stuff I didn't cling on to, because all of the history that the majority of us learned, African American Native children coming up in school, we were taught history of Anglo-Saxons. You know what I'm saying? They didn't teach us histories of Africans and Haitians, and you know what I'm saying? We were taught the history of another race. So it's like, that was like, I mean, it was a different feeling. And some of that, like I said, my system wouldn't let me, I couldn't grasp a lot of that stuff. And it's like, yeah, in a lot of situations, I've learned now at an older age, a lot of it, a lot of stuff was brainwashing and lies, Even with the, when you get into the whole religious aspect of things, to every Christian, I still got this peppermint in my mouth, but to every Christian, to each his own. But the whole thing, when we talked about the whole Jesus thing, how, they created the Anglo with the long brown hair, and later on in life,
kind of found out that was his cousin.
You realize that
that was the artist's cousin,
Michelangelo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then later on, once you get a further journey through knowledge, through education, through just, I don't know, it's crazy, man. There's a lot of stuff just had me daydreaming. I was daydreaming once you find out the truth. And like I was saying, to find out that picture that we have been brainwashed with, that wasn't even Jesus, because Jesus is of African descent. And all of the stories in the Bible, the Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur, all of those different movies that they made, none of those people were Anglo-Saxon, but we were brainwashed.
Moses.
We were brainwashed because that's what we seen on TV. We were brand new, fresh souls that just came into existence on this earth, and we were being fed all of those lies. Yeah, that was Elizabeth Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cleopatra was an African queen, And the thing about it, how we know that those were not Anglo-Saxons is because what I had learned when it came to Africa was that Anglo-Saxons couldn't thrive, they couldn't live in Africa like that. A lot of them would just become overexhausted.
Yeah, but not only that, if they were there, they wouldn't have no place to white skin.
They would be dark.
Yeah, they would have suntan. They would have a suntan.
Yeah.
A deep suntan.
So to me, the fair thing or the rightful thing to do when they were considering making those movies, the fair thing would have been to use the original people that were there. You know what I'm saying?
That
would have been the right thing. Because pharaohs, they got pharaohs, Anglo, and
not if you're trying to hide the history and lie to a race of people.
That was a bunch of brainwashing in the Bible coming to us. You know, it's just, we're gonna have our episode on the Bible eventually too. But yeah, all of that stuff is brainwashing. It's not of African descent. That stuff was introduced to brown melanated people later on, but that's not from our, you know what I'm saying?
But the sad thing is you have so many Afro-Americans that will completely show you a whole nother side of Christianity, Christian, what do you want to call it? If you say something about that Bible, and they want to stand 10 toes down on their belief, and they'll show you another side of Christians, judging you and everything because of your views or what you feel, what you can express your own words and your thoughts of that Bible and that religion. And but we're more spiritual people than we are religious.
This is the wild thing about it, because Martin Luther King, all of them, they were Christians as well. So how is it that they were Christians and then the segregationists were Christians?
Mm-hmm.
How did a pure holy religion from the God up above, how did it have separation in it where you had the white Christians that shunned the black Christians?
And they had the same Bible. And
the same God, or did they have a white God and a black God?
Well, I know they had the same Bible.
Yeah, it's just to be able to think or force yourself to think that all that stuff is normal and legitimate, I think that creates mental illness. Well, whoever came up with those rules and those laws, forcing it on other people, is like you forcing your mental disease on another race of people. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
They were Christians. It's supposed to have been, okay, Jesus taught love, but those people had hate. And it's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. So much stuff don't make sense. And it takes, it takes you to get older, and it takes, for your blinders to come off for you to really realize things. Yeah, it's just wild, man. This is what I would say. I don't want to get too deep on the Bible because we're going to have an episode about the Bible. What I would say is that there's a lot of good to take from the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Just like a lot of other books.
Yeah, I'm about to say exactly what they did.
Yeah.
They took the good out of every other hidden history, every other spiritual guiding book, and put it in one.
Yeah. And it takes an open-minded Christian to really look at things and to get out of your, whatever trap mindset you in and be like, hey, you know what? That makes sense what they said. I'm going to research that so I can learn the truth. Because some people just like to follow tradition.
No, the
only this is what my mother and my father did, and just
Quran
keep going.
And what's the Hindu book? I don't know what they call their Bible.
It begins with a V.
I think those two are different. Because
their
God has is it 6 or 8 arms?
Yeah, I think it's 6. Vaga something, I'm not remembering, but it begins with a V. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. And those books are older than the Bible. You know what I'm saying? The Bible is probably like a good 2,000 and something years old. That's not old. The Bible is not even older than slavery when you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Because slavery was longer than that. This earth is billions of years old. So the age of the Bible is probably
should be as old as time.
Yeah. It's amazing. But yeah, I'm happy that we got to have this episode of the Martin Luther King after party. Hopefully that was good parades in Miami, because I told you how the parades used to be every year with the shooting. And
I don't remember parade. I don't remember parade in New York, and I don't remember parade in South Carolina. But that's something that Malcolm X was assassinated in 65, and Martin Luther King was assassinated in 68.
3 years later?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And they got, I heard that the Lorraine Motel where he was assassinated at, they still have everything preserved. That it's like a you know how you can go to his house where he was born. It's like a exhibition place where you can go and see it. But yeah, that is amazing, man. But through him, we got Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and Hosea Williams, and what's the Abernathy. We got a lot of people through him, so yeah, it's a lot of goodness that brought about other goodnesses. And I know nobody's perfect, you know. Yeah.
And there's another situation I want to talk about.
And Bayard Rustin, can't forget about him.
But there was a preacher that was killed. I don't know how, if it was before Malcolm X or it was just a year or so after. There was a preacher that was killed before Malcolm X. Before Martin Luther King. There was a preacher that was killed first.
Was he as well known as Martin Luther King?
I think he, to a certain extent, he wasn't as big. But he was, well, they made a movie about it. I cannot think of what his name was right now. But they were, and I can't even remember what town it was. But the guy that killed him, when they had his trials, he was in a police department, bragging about it, talking about it, and everybody in the police department was laughing with him. He never was charged for it. And this is what they they had this what they portrayed in the movie.
So this says the most prominent preacher killed before the Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, who was closely linked to the movement, was Reverend James Reeb.
He shot in front of his house?
But this says a white Unitarian minister beaten to death in Selma, Alabama in March of 1965 while supporting the voting rights.
No, this guy was shot right in front of his house. This was an
African-American name?
Yeah, shot in front of his house.
What about Vernon Jones? Wait, a prominent Baptist pastor. Yeah, it's another one. This African American native. His name Vernon Jones. I'm thinking that that's a picture of him right there.
That probably was him. They made a movie about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That look like what's that man's name? That spoke for Darth Vader.
Oh, I know you're talking about
James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also Emmett Till. Remember the Emmett Till story?
And they said he whistled at a female and he was beaten unrecognizable.
And remember Rosewood?
Yeah,
Rosewood.
This woman lied saying that she was sleeping with somebody, and then she lied and said he raped her. Mm-hmm. She was mad because he didn't want to be with her.
That's just
and she
crazy.
lied, and they killed families. They killed families, threw them into like a gorge.
Yeah, for the people that
was in Florida. Some part of Florida.
Yep, that was Florida. When we first seen that movie, man, that movie just sent something through me. And that's what we said, that when the children and the younger people look at these movies, they need to feel the sting. It don't need to be watered down or nothing. Like, they need to see what was what to know that it's real, you know. What I was going to say is, for the people that live in Georgia, that heard of Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier was a thriving African-American native town that eventually, like, they flooded the town and turned the whole town into a lake. If you go and, actually just look it up. Look up Lake Lanier, the history of Lake Lanier, and you'll see where they filled it up, and there's still house structures on the bottom, on the floor, and trees that are still there. They turned into aquatic trees now because they've been in water so long. But it was a town there. And also the people from New York that are familiar with Central Park, Central Park was a thriving African American Native community that they turned, you know, they forced them out, and they turned Central Park into
a park.
They turned their land into a Central Park. It was a name for it. Seneca Village. Yeah.
Forsyth here in Georgia too. Forsyth, there was African Americans that they ran off of their own property. There's families that's old property in Forsyth County that their families was forced off their land. Either had to leave or get killed.
That's crazy.
And not to bring up her name, but Oprah did a show on Forsyth County to say how racist it was.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's amazing that this stuff actually existed and it was supposed to be considered legitimate. Like, it's amazing. It's just...
And people had they had no shame about how they did things. And then even Stone Mountain here, they have Klan rallies in Stone Mountain.
I just think under the umbrella of Christianity, since Jesus was all about love, I think that's how Christian people are supposed to be. Under all circumstances, you're supposed to be all about love. It's supposed to be just love for everybody, love for anybody. You know, just it shouldn't be no separation, whether you brown skin or pink skin, whatever color skin or whatever your sexual preference is. It should just be love. You know what I'm saying?
That goes back to saying how what we said about when there was a problem with the SNAP and all that stuff with the benefits that people wasn't getting. If there's so many religions, there's so many Catholics, and there's so many Christians that there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be any homeless people.
Yeah.
With all the monies that these churches have, there shouldn't be any families, these women that's stuck in these hotels and they can't get out of there, get into a house or apartment because they're working 2 jobs and they have 4 or 5 kids, and yeah, it's not all that shouldn't be taking place. If church is supposed to be about love and saving people and saving lives and souls.
Because the church accept money from people, so I feel like it's only right that if people are down on their luck that the church give. You know what I'm saying? That, like, say if you got, like you said, a mother of 5 kids that's struggling, the church, you know, one of their employees, they can research all of that and make sure all of this claims are legitimate, that, you know, they need money for a down payment, a deposit, you know, for a light bill. They can find out that these things are real and then take care of it. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be a struggle. Like, it shouldn't be hard.
So the churches don't pay taxes.
Those are non-profit organizations.
They don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
So when they collect all this money and they build these big churches, they don't have to pay taxes on that land or the building because everybody else have taxes and pay taxes on their houses and their land. So they don't. So what happens with all that money?
I just think people living nice.
Is it going to the church itself or is it going to the preacher?
I think it's going to the church and the preacher.
And the people that work with the church, the ushers and the deacons, do they get a salary?
That's a good question, because, I mean, they are working. I think they got to get paid unless there's some volunteer work going on. But, yeah, other
Those
than that,
questions
it's a
I've
job.
never asked in a church.
It's a job. So, because, yeah, I had customers of mine that played piano. Remember Reggie?
Mm-hmm.
And
I've heard people that play
that
piano.
other guy, what was his name? Yeah, I had 3 people that came to me that played piano for the church. They got paid.
Yeah.
It was a job. It's a job. But yeah, it's wild, man. I feel like let me see my page too. Oh, you know what I want to ask you? Wasn't it a situation you said where it was a racial situation where you and your mom was together and a vehicle didn't wait for your mom to cross the street? Was that racial? It was somebody.
Me and Melissa, my mother was going to the eye doctor.
Yeah, I remember that story too.
Me and Melissa, my mother was walking. We're talking, and this lady worked at this grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
It was how the women back then had the big bonnet, though, what they call those hairstyles, high hairstyle, and she was in her car, and like, you can just tell the way she was looking at. She was racist, and she bumped Melissa with her car. She hit Melissa hard enough, and Melissa fell on the ground. And I looked back, and my mother looked back, and Melissa was getting up off the ground. I said, she hit Melissa with her car. And my mother was asking Melissa, was she all right?
And that was a female.
Yeah. And then she was like, oh, I wasn't going that fast. She's going to show us how fast she was. I said, that's a big metal car. And you just hit my sister with her car. And I was going up. My mother was hitting on me, telling me to, does not talk that, that she was still my elder and blah, blah, blah. I was so mad at my mother. I was like, that situation was, I said, my dad was here. He would have ripped her hair out of her head. She hit my sister with her car. Hard enough to knock her off her feet. I don't care how fast she was going. That's a big metal object. You just hit a child with your car. And don't have no.
And this in the 70s?
This was in the late 70s, like 78, 79.
That's wild.
Yeah, we was on our way going to the eye doctor. That's when Melissa got her glasses.
That's wild. And I remember in Florida when I was a kid, all the Miami people know about the riots every year. Like, I don't know, due to injustice and anger, Miami people just rioted the place. I'm talking about fires, looting, just all that. But the messed up part about it is that they were rioting in their neighborhoods.
That's always been the. If you look back in time, that's all it was with African Americans. Why the hell are you going to do that in your neighborhood?
Yeah. So what would happen after the riots were over? When you go back into riding around, you'll be like, oh, this grocery store closed down. They don't come back.
So now you got to walk here. Now you got to walk further.
You got to go further, yeah. So it just was crazy.
So you took all your anger out on the closest thing you were able to get to.
Yeah. And then some of the stuff that they rioted, if they were angry with Anglos, you might have had a Cuban, a Spanish business here, African American business here. They got them all. So I just think it wasn't clear thinking.
There was no thinking. That's just that was every year. They call them the Miami riots, and I think California used to, because I think I heard of the Watts riots. It was the same thing, like stuff just burning up and and then I remember, because it was just me, my mom, and my grandma, and my sister Nika. We was living in this house, and I see my grandma, my mama looking out the front window, and they got these military trucks and all these soldiers just driving down the street. It was scary. It was a scary feeling just seeing. It was dark. It was no power. The last thing that came close to that was this George Floyd.
Yep.
The last thing that came close to that was George Floyd. And before George Floyd, it was the O.J. Simpson trial and what was his name? Rodney Denny trial.
Rodney King.
Rodney Denny.
Reginald Denny.
Reginald Denny.
The Anglo that got and Rodney King too, cause what that
No, Reginald Denny was the guy that got pulled out his truck.
I'm saying Rodney King falls in that category.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The guy that got pulled out his car.
I know they were hitting with bricks and
they were beating him with their batons.
That was
they were beating him with his batons, saying he was speeding and resisting arrest.
Man, I seen that beating.
Yeah.
That was not good. I remember Reginald Denny, the truck driver.
That was the truck driver.
Wow. And Rodney King's situation was when the police were beating him and somebody was at a distance.
They made sure they caught the guys that beat him. But then when the cops that beat him, Rodney King, they got off. They were suspended with pay, and then they got off.
When I seen that video, I was like, is that real? Like, it was crazy to believe that was real,
and
man.
Somebody caught it. And that was one of those big cameras.
Them old school cameras.
Yeah, one of those big cameras, too.
That was just crazy to see and to know, because it looked like it could have been a movie, like, but man.
And then in New York, there was a young lady that got raped in a park. And they found 6 kids, and they tried to put it on these kids and said these kids did it. And it wasn't. The guy that actually did it, it was like months so after, because he was a serial rapist. He actually, once they finally caught him, told them those kids didn't have anything to do with it. He did it by himself.
Oh, we meant to say grape or RA.
Oh, that's right, SA.
We gonna get our lingo together.
Yeah, SA.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have.
We
a
becoming
thing
more
with-
aware. Yeah.
Yeah, we're supposed to have a thing with words not to say. But that was in the 90s. That was like in 91 or 93, somewhere around there. And that's when Trump had first said something about like they need to go to jail and throw away the key, and come to find out that it was innocent. It was
wow.
But I mean, he was speaking his mind. He was just wrong. There wasn't they didn't do the crime. It was somebody else. Not taking up for him, just saying that everybody got a right to their opinion.
Well, he was speaking on what he thought.
Yeah.
What he thought he
He
knew.
thought, because if you thought that somebody did something, you would say the same thing.
Yeah, until you find out further.
The race or not, if it was Anglo or black, you'll say the same thing out of anger, because if somebody do something to that magnitude to somebody, you would want to see them under the jail. But yeah, that was when everybody that's one of the main things they talked about when they brought up Trump.
Wow.
But yeah, history is something else. You go back in time and look at a lot of stuff and see things that happen.
That's amazing.
But and everybody has a right to their opinion.
I had it was the first year, this one school I went to, it was the very first year they ever thought to do African American history. And it was so different from any American history class I went to, because we had our teacher named Miss Fisher, African American Native lady, and she used to give us different assignments to do, and I'm so happy I crossed paths, with her through her class, because she'll tell us what to do, and then we'll have to come back to class in front of each other and, get in front of the class and say what's what. But she said, sit down with the oldest person in your family, and she gave us questions to ask them. And I wouldn't have never thought of none of that on my own because I was a child. Those questions I took to my grandma, and I'm about to cry, but my grandma taught me so much stuff she went through. Like, my grandma from Georgia, and she said they used to have to hide. They had this one lady that used to teach them how to read. She was like, y'all gonna need to know how to do this. They used to have to hide to know how to read and write. Like, she told me so many things.
I had a great aunt that was her mother was 100, and I think at the time she was like 112 when Melissa used to braid her hair, and she would sit and talk to us. And the things she would tell me, I didn't believe it, because when I went to school, it wasn't taught to us in school. Yeah. She told me that the first presidents and stuff, she was telling me, well, there was more presidents than at the time I used to be on that the 36th president and the names and all.
All of it, yeah.
But she was like, no, baby, that's not right. She was telling me the African American presidents and how the African Americans, that they built the White House and they ran the White House. They the ones set up the House of Representatives, the Senate, and all these. The African Americans did all that
stuff. Yeah.
She did, and the thing about it was, I thought she was just trying to make me feel good about myself. And I'm thinking that she's just, she's just trying to. I know how when I leave to go to school, I know how when I'm sitting in that classroom, I know when I'm being told, and I know how everybody Anglo was treating us. Mm-hmm. And then when you walk into the store and stuff, not only that, it was the biggest thing. Being in this skin, you had to deal with rednecks. You had to still deal with the ignorant Afro-Americans. As a child, you had to fight other Afro-American kids. You had to fight other Anglo kids. And then you had to come home and try to, defend yourself with your parents because they want to know why you all dirty and everything. You've been fighting. And it was really a trying. That was, back then, that was, not only that, there was people trying to kidnap us.
Yeah, it's so much, man. But what I was trying to say, I couldn't get all that. So, like, this lady, she was an African-American native, but some kind of how she knew how to read and write. So my grandma now, she'll be like, meet me behind the church at such and such. they had to sneak, and the lady taught them how to write checks, because she was like, y'all gonna need to know this.
Wow.
And like, from me going to that Black history class, Black American history class, like, my grandma told me so much stuff past her, like her mama, her grandma, her uncle, stuff that I probably wouldn't have never known.
Just holding on in her mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't have never learned none of that. Yeah. So she taught me as far as her grandma, but I guess she didn't know past that, you know what I'm saying? But just imagine, had I not gone to that class, nothing would have popped in my head to answer that. I probably would have thought about it now in my 50s, but my grandma's gone. But I got that inside of me, that knowledge, the education, the pain that she felt, a lot of stuff she went through. And I got to meet her was this her, I think this was her great uncle. But he passed away, I told you one when he was 108 years old, Uncle Doug. And I got to meet his wife. I forgot her name, but she passed away when she was 98, like after he had passed away. But yeah, it's powerful, man.
I got stories from my grandmother's, my mother, and my father's mother. I got stories of family members. But far as history, I don't know what they went through, but they never talked. The only person that ever talked to us about things was my great aunt. I don't remember any one of my grandmothers telling us about anything, how they learned how to read. I don't remember them telling me any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Cause it was really, they were sheltering. They were too sheltering to us.
And when you think about the way things are today, how I'm gonna just say how ratchet females then got, like, who is gonna be that grandmother to pass the energy to these new children? Because they not even about that these days, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole nother element of things going on. Yeah, because
you got 70-year-old women in these spandex, tight-ass.
Yeah, they trying to be young, so it's like, no, can you be that person that you're supposed to be?
Big eyelashes, lace fronts, long nails.
And I know that for me, I think the knowledge of the history of who I am and where I come from, I think my knowledge is gonna always be limited though. I will never get to learn as much as I can learn, because these days things are different. Those people that we talking about from back in the day, the ones that do exist, they're slowly fading away. You know what I'm saying? But these new people with egos and all of this liberated power, and these are new times. And a lot of people now, they gonna make up stories. Not saying people back then didn't make up stories, but right now this is the age of where it's gonna be more lies told.
Yeah, when I get around my brothers, Lester, Michael, if there's family things that I don't know, they'll tell me. This is how our great uncle was. This is how Uncle so and so was, and I hear all that stuff now. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but my grandma, man, that was probably one of the deepest historical conversations we had. Like, cause that was just one assignment. Like, Miss Fisher had us doing a lot of stuff, man.
But when Alex Haley came out with Roots, that's when everybody started getting into. Everybody started trying to get into knowing who their family were. And
I'm happy you mentioned that, because I traveled to Africa. I went to Gambia and I went to Senegal with Alex Haley's family, and my Aunt Cora went with me. And it was an experience that you will remember for a lifetime. And we got to experience the slave house, where that ship would line along they called this big doorway the point of no return. Once they walked that down to the ship, that was it. And when I tell you the emotion in that place, everybody was crying. They had the president there, and he gave us the whole historical rundown of that place, man. And they had rooms where the ceiling was this tall.
Wow.
So the slaves, they had to walk around. They had to walk around like this. Like, they couldn't stand fully up. And that same room, they used the bathroom there. They had to pee there. They had the boo-boo there. They ate their food there. Then he showed us the chains. It was just so much. It was so much. But yeah, man, I ain't never cried.
But as people, can you imagine having to relive, even though that we didn't live through, but our ancestors did?
Yeah, man. It was just
That feeling of that you feeling right now, knowing that somebody in your family had to endure that, and then had to be calling somebody master.
And the energy was so strong. It's like spirits was just flying around, passing through you, and you could feel the pain.
And when you hear another Afro-American denying another Afro-American the right to being liberated for
I'm sorry, y'all.
for reparations,
My first time crying.
that cuts really deep.
And just
I don't care how high on the hog you feel. Those express. Everybody have the right to their own, to express themselves in their way. But those words need to be kept to yourself.
And just to think, like when them ships traveled over the water, they was dropping people off in Jamaica, Haiti.
Not to mention the ones that didn't make it. There were ships that sunk.
Yeah.
There were people that killed. That jumped off the boats.
Yeah,
They'd
some
rather
people
die
say
than
they'd
be
rather die than
enslaved.
be slaves. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that goes deep. That goes very deep.
But I'm thankful that I was able to travel to Africa we went so many places, and it just I'm thankful. If I never get to go again in my life, which I would like to, but I'm thankful for the opportunity, man. It was an emotional trip. It was so emotional. It was and it was filled with a lot of fun times too, because we got to go to the village of Jufaray, because it was all centering Alex Haley decided to trace his lineage. And Kunta Kinte, we went to that village where all the descendants lived at. And they had this celebration, man. It was just the music, the drums, the hand claps, the dance. It was just it was such a free feeling. Like, it was so free. It was so free.
There was it was a Ghana, was it Gambia?
What?
One of the places that was welcoming. They was like saying that.
I think that's Ghana.
Ghana, that's right. Ghana was like, if you wanted to come back there, they would. I don't know if that still exists, but
It's
I know back it was.
something to
I think
look
it was
into,
in the late '70s. I heard about it, or early '80s or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm talking about like them Africans. They treated us so regal, so royal. So like they were like, "Welcome back home." They hug us. Start crying. But this the crazy thing. The African American Native women that were from America, because it was a lot of us went on that trip. What we learned was like when we go to in they town, shopping and bartering and stuff, and you had our women from this country with their cleavage showing and short sleeve shirts on. Some of the African women would come and push them, and they were shunning them, and they'll turn on them and like suck their teeth. They were like, "What's wrong?" They like, "We don't accept this kind of dress code.
Wow.
You're showing too much of your body."
Wow.
And they treated them so horrible. So some of the women had to go back on the charter bus and wait until we was done, because this American culture is different. You know what I'm saying? Showing too much of your legs, and it goes back to we seen somebody's on podcast today, and he was talking about how in music, he said he don't feel comfortable watching a lot of female performers.
That was
yeah.
What's his face? I know you're talking about.
But he said, because we were just talking about music in one of our podcasts, and we was talking about how sexual things are when it comes to females, and he was saying he might be looking at a video with his daughter, and then it's just all his ass, and he was like, he don't feel comfortable as a father looking at
Understandable.
But that culture, I think if we want to be, and maybe some African and probably change to this now, with the changing of the times, but I think the core of that culture, if we want to find out how we should be, I think some of that is in us, because that's where our descendants are from. Then we got the indigenous people from here, and then we got the slave master in us. So we're hybrids in so many ways. And I think that's what makes our culture very talented, because we have DNA from so many different places. If you look at it that way, imagine the African slaves, the indigenous people, and the slave masters. Like, imagine all of those different DNAs in us. But we are a lost race because our history goes as far as the coastline. When they brought the slaves there, nobody had a book. Like, okay, this is such and such. They didn't make sure that we learned where we came from. And then you had different tribes that started mixing, and then, you know, already essaying from the slave masters, and so many things took place. So many things took place.
And then some people, when they ran away, they got other places and mixed there.
Then you had the
came
slaves
back to America.
You had the slaves mixing with the indigenous people that were already here, because they started helping slaves out, and some of them got enslaved. Then some Anglos were enslaving other Anglos. So that slavery thing was like an evil spirit,
like a plague,
like a demonic spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. And all that was, to me, when I look at slavery, is a bunch of lazy people that didn't want to do the work. They wanted to inflict pain and hurt people
and
to do things that they wanted to be done. Yeah.
They was violent and ignorant.
That's not right. That's not right. If you want something done, get out there and get your hands dirty.
They were into very morbid torture and stuff. They came up with all these different, how these shackles was, and all these different torture devices. It was like something from medieval time.
That is crazy that stuff was really real. That is amazing, man. But yeah, man. Yeah, we can go to
some
Africa.
of this stuff was eye opener for some of you guys, and knowing that a lot of this is not old. A lot of this is not that old.
Yeah.
Just looking at how segregation was just over, like in 74, 72.
Less than 100 years.
Less than, yeah. Like, I think it was 72. 69, I'm sorry, 69.
No, less than 100 years.
Yeah, 69.
I don't know.
I was born in 64, 69, segregation was over.
And then, yeah, it could be some places where it was still going on, like, say, little towns, like how the movie Alice was.
Yeah.
Because what Alice, the movie was basically about was...
Don't give it too much away.
Yeah. It will put you in the mindset of Juneteenth.
Yeah.
It'll put you in that mindset, and yeah. But y'all make sure y'all see Alice, man. It's worth
It's
seeing.
a must see.
And yeah, on that note,
take us out.
Yeah. Thank y'all for sitting and chilling with us.
Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for all the cash apps and donations. We appreciate you guys. Keep watching, keep tuning in, keep sharing, and keep subscribing.
I've impacted one heart, one mind, one soul, and brought that individual greater truth than that individual came into a relationship with me having, then I would say that I've been successful. Harry Belafonte. Powerful giants, examples that they set for us, values that they instilled in us, passing forward. Each one teach one, each one reach one. An inheritance of the Creole for all time. Reverence how our ancestors give honor to ourselves. Say it loud. You can't teach others if you're living the same way. Change it right. I'm not quite sure what freedom is, but I know damn well what it ain't. A scholarship. Difficulties break some men, but make others. Nelson Mandela. We have to talk about liberating minds as well as liberating society. Angela Davis. Kill a man, but you can't kill an idea. Mega Everest. You make progress by implementing ideas. Shirley Chisholm. I do not expect the white media to create positive black male images. Huey P. Newton. Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it. Aaron Wright Edelman. Education is the passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Malcolm X. If nobody can learn from the past, If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Martin Luther King. It must be recognized that no black males manufacture the chemicals for drug use. Nor do any black males manufacture guns. Francis Cresswell. If you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have a moral obligation to do something about it. John Lewis. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. Maya Angelou. The proof that one truly believes is in his actions. Maya Rustin. Say it loud. 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 Can prosper till it learns that there is as much dignity in tilling a field as writing a poem. Booker T. Washington, say it loud.
Thank y'all so much, man.
Thanks for tuning in.
This was something else. Happy birthday, Martin Luther King. Thank you
Malcolm
for the
X,
civil rights movement.
Nat Turner,
Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass,
Alex Haley,
yes. Alex Haley, man. James Baldwin, Marcus Garvey, Coretta Scott King, Sojourner Truth.
The Boys.
Who the Boys?
The Boys. What's his name? Something Du Bois. I can't think.
Oh, W.E.B. Du Bois. Yeah, definitely, man. I thought you said The Boys. I was thinking about Down My Heart. But all right, y'all, man.
I think they're over in Africa.
Yeah, they did go to Africa. Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, thank y'all. All of the ancestors showed us that we stand upon the people that made it possible for us to be doing this podcast right now. Because if they didn't want you to know how to read and write, you damn sure ain't finna make no podcast about, a movement. Thank y'all for sitting, man. I hope this touched a lot of people. And, if you got stories, requests, put them in the comments and
share.
Say it loud.